kill her. End this little thief. The angry voices crashed down like thunder as fists and feet found their target. But wait. Before we dive into this heartbreaking story, I need you to do something. Hit that subscribe button right now and turn on notifications. Trust me, you won't want to miss what happens next. This story will change how you see promises forever. The crowd pressed closer, their faces twisted with rage. Sarah lay on the hot ground, her small body shaking as the kicks kept coming. Blood dripped from her lip. Her torn dress barely covered her thin frame. "She's just a child," someone yelled from the back. "Thieves start young," another voice shot back. "This is Legos. You steal, you pay." Marcus stood frozen at the edge of the circle. He had been walking back from his office when he heard the noise. Now he couldn't move. Something about this scene made his chest tight. Then it happened. A kick landed hard on Sarah's chest. The thin chain around her neck snapped and flew through the air. The small silver heart pendant caught the sunlight for just a moment before hitting the ground. Marcus felt his world stop. That necklace. He knew that necklace. What did she steal? Marcus pushed through the crowd, his voice cutting through the noise. "I'll pay for it." Bread. A fat man with sweat on his face pointed at the broken loaf on the ground. Just bread. But a thief is a thief. Marcus reached into his jacket and pulled out a thick roll of money. He threw it at the fat man's feet. Then he threw more bills into the air. The crowd scrambled for the cash, giving him the seconds he needed. He scooped Sarah into his arms. She was so light, so broken. As he carried her to his car, Marcus's mind raced back 10 years, back to a promise he made, back to a woman he left behind. 10 years earlier. "You can't leave me, Marcus. Please. What will I do without you?" Emma's tears fell like rain on his shirt. They stood under their favorite tree, the same tree where they had shared their first kiss 3 years before. Marcus's heart was breaking, but he had made up his mind. "Emma, I have to go. I can't stay in this village forever. I need to find a better life for us." Emma and Marcus had grown up together. They went to the same small school. They worked on their family's farms side by side. They dreamed of a future together under the stars. But Marcus wanted more than the village could give. When his parents died in that terrible car crash, something broke inside him. The pain was too much. He was scared to love anyone else, scared to lose them too. At 22, he made the hardest choice of his life. Before he got on the bus to Lagos, Marcus took off his silver chain, the one with the heart pendant his mother had given him. He pressed it into Emma's hand. "I'll come back for you," he whispered. "I promise." But even as he said the words, they felt empty. Like lies he told himself to make leaving easier. Lagos hit Marcus like a wall. The smell of car smoke and sweat filled his nose. The noise never stopped. The heat pressed down on him like a heavy blanket. He had nothing. Just one bag and big dreams. The first week, Marcus slept at the bus station. The ground was hard and cold. Drunk men stumbled around him all night. In the morning, women selling bread would step over him like he was trash. He worked any job he could find. He carried heavy bags at the market until his back screamed. He washed cars in the hot sun for a few coins. He sold water in traffic, running between angry drivers who cursed at him. Some nights he was so hungry that his stomach felt like it was eating itself. Some days he wanted to quit and go home. But Marcus never stopped fighting. He saved every coin he could. When a chance came to work as a cleaner in an office, he took it. He watched, he listened, he learned how business worked. Years passed. One small chance led to another. Marcus learned to read contracts. He started buying and selling phones, then land, then cars. Now, 10 years later, Marcus owned 3 companies. He lived in a big house. He drove expensive cars. People called him Sir and opened doors for him. But success felt empty, like a beautiful box with nothing inside. She has broken ribs, and she's very weak, the doctor said, checking Sarah's small body. But she will live. Marcus sat beside the hospital bed, watching Sarah sleep. She looked so peaceful now, so innocent. The necklace lay on the table next to her bed. Marcus picked it up with shaking hands. It was the same chain he had given Emma, the same heart his mother had worn. But how? How could this street child have Emma's necklace? When Sarah opened her eyes, they were big and scared, like a baby bird that had fallen from its nest. "I won't leave you," Marcus said softly. "I promise." Sarah stared at him but didn't speak. She had learned not to trust anyone. Marcus turned to the doctor. "Give her everything she needs. I'll pay for it all." Marcus brought Sarah to his house in the rich part of Lagos. It had a big gate and a swimming pool, gardens with flowers everywhere. But when they walked through the front door, the warmth died. Lisa stood in the living room with her arms crossed. Her long hair was perfect. Her dress cost more than most people made in a month, but her eyes were cold. Next to her stood David, Marcus's son, 8 years old, with an angry face that looked too old for his age. "Who is this?" David asked, looking at Sarah like she was a bug. "This is Sarah," Marcus said. "She'll be staying with us." David's face got red. "A beggar? In our house? No way!" Marcus felt his anger rise, but he tried to stay calm. "David, be kind. She needs help." "I don't want her here." David threw his toy car on the floor and ran to his room. The door slammed so hard the walls shook. Sarah jumped at the sound. Fear filled her eyes again. Lisa walked closer to Marcus. Her voice was sweet like poison. "Marcus, honey, you're putting strangers before your own family." Marcus looked at her. Lisa was beautiful, smart, but something about her always felt fake, like she was acting in a play. What Marcus didn't know was that Lisa had been lying to him for months. She had another man, Robert, a man she really loved, a man she was planning to run away with, and she was planning to take Marcus's money with her. That night at dinner, David threw his food on the floor. "I hate her. Send her back to the streets." Sarah started crying and ran to her room. Marcus had enough. He followed her upstairs with a plate of food. When he opened Sarah's door, his heart broke all over again. Sarah sat on the floor, holding the necklace tight against her chest. Tears poured down her face. "Mama," she whispered, "you said this necklace would help me find Daddy. I'm so scared and alone." Marcus felt the world spin around him. He sat down on the floor next to her. "Sarah," his voice shook. "Who gave you that necklace?" Sarah looked up at him with eyes that looked so familiar, eyes that reminded him of, "Mama gave it to me," Sarah said. She said if Daddy sees it, he will remember her. Marcus could barely breathe. "What? What is your mama's name?" "Emma," Sarah whispered. "Her name is Emma. She's very sick, and she won't wake up. I try to wake her up, but she just sleeps and sleeps." The room went silent, except for Sarah's quiet crying. Marcus felt like he was falling into a deep hole. Emma. His Emma. The woman he promised to come back for. "How old are you, Sarah?" he asked, though he was afraid of the answer. "I'm 9, almost 10. Marcus did the math in his head. 10 years since he left. 9 years old. The truth hit him like a truck. Sarah was his daughter. The daughter he never knew he had. "Sarah," Marcus whispered, pulling her into his arms. I think I'm your daddy." Sarah looked up at him with hope shining in her wet eyes. "Really? Are you really my daddy?" Marcus nodded, tears falling down his face. "Yes, baby girl. I'm so sorry it took me so long to find you." While Marcus held his daughter for the first time, Lisa was in the next room making a phone call. "Robert, we need to move fast," she whispered. "He's getting too attached to that street kid. If we don't take the money soon, we might lose our chance." Robert's voice was cold. "Tomorrow night, I've got the fake papers ready. We'll clean out his accounts and be gone before he knows what happened." Lisa smiled. "What about the kid?" "Not our problem. Once we have his money, Marcus will be too broke to take care of anyone." But Lisa didn't know that Sarah had been listening at the door. The little girl who had survived on the streets knew how to be quiet, how to hear things adults thought she couldn't hear. Sarah ran back to Marcus. "Daddy, I heard something bad. The lady and a man named Robert. They want to take your money and leave." Marcus felt anger burning his chest like fire. But he also felt proud. His daughter was smart, strong. She was protecting him the way he should have protected her mother. "Thank you for telling me, Sarah. Don't worry. Daddy will handle this." The next morning, Marcus called his lawyer and the police. By the time Lisa and Robert tried to steal his money, they were already caught. Lisa's face went white when the police walked into the house. "Marcus, what's going on? There must be some mistake." "The only mistake," Marcus said, "was me trusting you." David watched his mother get arrested. For the first time, he looked scared instead of angry. Marcus knelt down next to his son. "David, I know this is hard, but I will always love you. You will always be my son, but I won't let you treat people badly anymore." 3 days later, Marcus and Sarah got on a plane back to his village. Sarah held his hand tight. She wore a new dress and had toys in a bag, but what made her happiest was having her daddy with her. The village looked smaller than Marcus remembered, but it felt like home. They found Emma in the small hospital. She was so thin, so weak. But when she saw Marcus walk through the door, her eyes lit up like stars. "You came back," she whispered. Marcus sat next to her bed and took her hand. "I'm sorry I took so long. I broke my promise, but I'm here now." Emma smiled and looked at Sarah. "She's beautiful, isn't she? She has your eyes." "She's perfect," Marcus said, "just like her mother." Emma was too sick to get better, but she lived long enough to see Marcus and Sarah together. She lived long enough to know that their daughter would be loved and cared for. She died peacefully 3 weeks later. holding both their hands. Marcus moved back to the village with Sarah. He used his money to build a school, a hospital. He gave jobs to people who needed them. Sarah grew up strong and happy. She remembered her mama with love, not sadness. She knew her daddy would never leave her again. David came to visit them sometimes. Away from his mother's bad influence, he became a kinder boy. He and Sarah became real brother and sister. On Sarah's 18th birthday, Marcus gave her a gift, a new necklace. This one had 2 hearts on it. One for your mama in heaven, he said, and one for the daddy, who will never leave you again. Sarah hugged him tight. Thank you for keeping your promise, Daddy, even if it took a while. Marcus smiled through his tears. Some promises are worth waiting for, baby girl. Some promises are worth everything. If this story touched your heart, please hit that like button and subscribe for more amazing stories. Share this with someone who needs to remember that it's never too late to keep a promise. Love always finds a way home. Asterisk.